if the Georgia Bulldogs play the rest of the season like they did against the Ducks on Saturday, they are going to walk through the SEC East. Yesterday, I went back, watched some video of Georgia, Oregon. Again, 49-3, just an absolute blowout. And found some things on the television version that I did not see when I was up in the press box and throughout the stadium getting pictures. And I came away with more thoughts that were really impressive. First off, have to talk about Todd Monken. The guy's an absolute genius. If you asked any Georgia fan before the game who were Oregon's two best players, they would have told you the linebackers, right? Noah Sewell, Justin Flo. Todd Monken says, you know what? Let's take them out of the game. Nothing up the middle. Let's get our playmakers the ball on the perimeter, make Oregon's defense run sideline to sideline all game long. That's exactly what they did, and they made it look easy. Everything Todd Monken drew up worked. He didn't even get super creative in the game. He kept it simple, got the running backs the ball in space, worked the perimeter, and kind of gashed Oregon's defense, got them tired, and gave his playmakers a chance to make plays. They have the guys to do it, and it's what they do best. So not only did they take away two of Oregon's best players on defense, they didn't play a great game anyway, but a lot of that was due to the scheme. And I don't think there's really a defense that I've seen in week one, I know it's early, who could stop Georgia the way they attacked Oregon. 11 different players caught passes, 5 running backs caught a pass, 4 wide receivers, 2 tight ends. And the way they block, man, Darnell Washington was just mauling guys. And even the receivers, when they're out there and they're not getting the ball, they are blocking their butts off. On the first touchdown, Ladd McConkey, the little jet sweep, A.D. Mitchell put his guy on the ground, just bullied him. Brock Bowers took his guy, pushed him back to Eugene. There was a gaping hole right there. All Ladd McConkey had to do was make some poor linebacker miss, which is easy for him. It was an easy touchdown. On the Kenny McIntosh 1-yard run, that was Darnell Washington and Brock Bowers again moving guys. Listen, Brock Bowers, as good as he is in the passing game as a receiver catching the ball, the dude is a great blocker, and he was one of the main guys blocking on those 2 touchdowns early in the game. But the tight ends are one thing, but when you have guys on the outside like Marcus Rosemy, Jack Saint, and A.D. Mitchell, those guys are blocking and throwing their guys backwards. It makes it easy for a guy like Kenny McIntosh or Kendall Milton or whoever. When they get to the perimeter, there's room to run. So that was definitely something I noticed. Todd Monken is a genius. He's been doing this for a long time, and there's a big thread on this over on DAWGSTRUCTION, so make sure you check that out. But his chemistry with Stetson Bennett, making it easy for him, has really made this offense thrive. Of course, Stetson Bennett, 368 yards, 2 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown. I mean, if that were anyone else who put up those numbers, we'd be talking about, a guy pushing for the Heisman after week 1. I know it's crazy early to even think about that, but I am. So perimeter blocking was something that stood out to me. The offensive line was shoveled a lot, and it worked. We saw Amarius Mims play some right tackle in the first half on Kendall Milton's big run that he should have scored on for, I think, 20-plus yards. He was tackled at the 1. Kenny McIntosh scored, I think, on the next play. But Amarius Mims, a right tackle, pushed his guy backwards 10 yards. Broderick Jones was excellent on the left side. We saw Warren McClendon play some left tackle. So they mixed and matched a lot of guys. Devin Willock was in there a little bit. I thought Xavier Truss had a really good day. He opened up a lot of holes. But you don't want to mess with the offensive line too much. You want those 5 guys in there unless they get dinged up, and you could bring in, your next best off the bench. But Georgia moved a lot of guys around. A lot of guys got experience, and they were really good. Everything worked. They didn't even use a lot of guys. Eric Gilbert did not catch a pass. Dominic Blaylock did not catch a pass. I think they've got more things in store for Kyrus Jackson. He only touched the ball, I think, once. Marcus Rosemy, Jack Saint, when he catches the ball, I mean, it's flashy. He's a big kid with strong hands, and he's made some nice catches in his career. He only had 1 catch. So they kept it simple. They still have a lot in the bag that they don't even need to use until Florida. South Carolina is not very good. They're not as good as I thought they would be. Was not impressed with them against Georgia State. Georgia doesn't need to open it up against them either. Georgia could score 50 points easily on South Carolina, doing exactly what they did against Oregon, keeping it simple. At the end of the day, they're distributing the ball really well offensively, and they executed the game plan, and it was a great game plan to start with. They scored touchdowns on the first 7 drives. Let's talk about the defense. the safeties played outstanding. Malachi Starks, 8 tackles, led the team with an interception. Chris Smith, 6 tackles, an interception. Dan Jackson, 5 tackles. The safeties were very, very good. Normally, you don't want to see 3 safeties be your leading tacklers at the end of a game, but it's not like they were making tackles 10, 15, 20 yards down the field. A lot of these tackles they made were around the line of scrimmage or sometimes in the backfield. Oregon had 140 yards rushing in the game. They only had 41 in the first half. So they ran the ball okay here and there, but they didn't do a whole lot in the first half. A lot of it came in garbage time, but those safeties know how to come up. They know how to tackle very well, and obviously what they did in coverage speaks for itself. I thought that group was outstanding. The linebackers were okay, not great, still learning, kind of thinking before reacting, but they're going to get better and better. The talent is there. They're fast, but you can tell they don't have the intangibles or the instincts that Nakobe Dean brought, right? And, they haven't been in the program for 4 years like Channing Tindall or Quay Walker. So they're not going to be those guys, but they still played well, and they're getting better. Smile Munden is a guy who has a lot of good football left in him. He's only scratching the surface of his potential is what I've been trying to say. But that's a group that I think a lot of people circled to say, hey, how are they going to play? They played well, not great, but they're getting better. The defensive line rotated a lot of guys. That was good to see because that means a lot of guys are ready to play. Bill Norton at running with the twos at the end had a nice tackle. Tyrion Ingram, Dawkins had a tackle for loss. We know what Jalen Carter did. He had a viral video of just stealing that dude's lunch money, just pushing an Oregon offensive lineman aside. If you don't double team him, he's making a play. It might not get the tackle, but he's going to blow up a play and leave it for someone else to come behind and make a play. So Nolan Smith was getting pressure nonstop on Bo Nix. No one got a sack, but it's tough to sack Bo Nix. He was running for his life. Nazir Stackhouse was in there. Zion Logue was in there. We saw a good bit of guys. Michael Williams played. Warren Brinson was in there early on. Timon Mitchell. Not Timon Mitchell. Tramel Walthour. I saw him early in the game. So they played a lot of guys. They rotated a lot of guys. Again, they're not going to replace Jordan Davis and Devonta Wyatt, but these are guys who are getting better. And whoever plays next to Jalen Carter is going to have a really good year. They're not going to go up against a mobile quarterback like Bo Nix throughout the season. They're going to get sacks. They're going to get pressure. But I thought this group did a good job of containing him. He did escape the pocket here and there. But when they said, okay, we're not going to let you run, you have to throw it and make a play because we know you can't, that's what they did. And I thought they played really well. But at the end of the day, on defense, Malachi Starks was the talk of it. Kirby said that he was the most productive defensive back in fall camp. I think I remember that correct. As a freshman, this is a guy they've been working hard with and coaching him up in fall and during summer workouts and even in the spring. So he's a guy he's a 5-star for a reason. 6'1", 205, who can run and cover and hit. Just a tremendous athlete. They knew they were getting a stud, and I did not see him coming out making 8 tackles and an interception. I knew he had the talent to do that, but first game on a big stage like this, sharing time with Dan Jackson, Chris Smith wasn't off the field very much from what I gathered going back and watching it. When Dan Jackson was not in there, it was Malachi Starks, and he's a guy who can line up in both safety positions. I think he could play some star. He's a versatile guy and a weapon, as you can see. When the ball's in the air, he's going to go get it. The fact that he turned around, looked for the ball, located it, and made a play, caught the ball. So, you just don't see freshmen doing that very often. So just a few notes that I had. But again, Todd Monken, for me, was, if you're giving a player of the game award, it goes to him and Stetson Bennett, obviously. But the game plan was easy. It was simple. And he knows what he's doing. This is not Jim Chaney back there just kind of fitting something square into a round hole and doing it kind of his way with the guy, Jake Fromm, who couldn't run the ball. But Stetson Bennett kind of played like Johnny Manziel a little bit. He flashed. He made plays, when being chased. He made plays on the run. And he threw some rockets. He's got some chemistry with A.D. Mitchell that we saw multiple times. But he threw some ropes out there. Just overall really impressive. Not a whole lot of criticism coming from me or I think anyone after a game like that. But at the end of the day, I think I started the video with a question or a statement saying that no one's going to touch them in the SEC East. If they play like this, if they keep continuing to improve from the Oregon game, it's going to be a showdown with them in Alabama again. Ohio State, it's an impressive win over Notre Dame. I still think that both of those teams are slightly overrated. I don't think they're number 2 and number 5. But when you beat a top 5 team by multiple scores, you gotta give them some type of credit. And I think that they're a team who will probably play better and better as the year goes along. But as far as the SEC East is concerned, Tennessee looked good. They're not beating Georgia at 3:30 or at night in Athens. It's not happening. Florida beat Utah. Did not think that was going to happen. Had some help from just a terrible play at the end of the game by the quarterback, Redding. I think it might have screwed that up. But it was in the swamp too. So it was at home. On the road in Jacksonville against Georgia. I don't see them winning that game just yet. But I think Kentucky's probably the best team they'll play in the East. That might be a tricky one, but Kentucky they're not stopping the way Georgia played and executed on offense, is what I'm trying to say. Anyway, just a few notes that I had watching the game again. Always good to do that. You kind of miss some things from the press box. And, if you're like us, the Dog Press crew, we try to get cameras, shots from different parts of the stadium. So we're walking around doing this and that. But just some overall thoughts on the game. Did you watch it again? Did you have anything else that you missed the first time that you caught, and the second time? Drop a comment in the section below. Thanks for watching this video as always. The Dogs they could do it again. They could do it again. Stay tuned to Dog Post. Continue to watch our videos. We really appreciate it if you do. I do think this could be a special season once again. Stay with us throughout the season. Hope you're enjoying the content, and enjoy the next video coming up.